Well, hey, today I'm here with Dr. Kaiser talking about the referendum or post-referendum ideas and basically what that's going to look like. So a big congratulations on passing that. How do you feel about that?
I'm glad it's over.
Yeah.
This was an operating referendum, which goes for teacher benefits and salaries and things like that.
Yeah.
In the state of Indiana, you have to do it 8 years. So if everything goes as planned, we won't have to talk about referendum for the next 8 years. I'll be retired by then, hopefully. But so we're just really thankful to the community for their support, getting 6 to 8% to come out and say yes under today's times. We dropped the tax rate 3 cents with it, but we're just grateful. It was fun talking to a lot of people at the polls, and the support for the schools was just overwhelming.
Absolutely.
So we're just very pleased about that.
It's a big building step for the community of Westfield, I think, the state as a whole even. So the first question I have is, when students are walking around school each day, what is the differences they will see, or the main, I guess, thing that they will see around Westfield?
Well, related to the referendum, they're going to see their teachers still here.
Yeah.
Because if we would have lost the referendum, we would have had to start cutting staff. So I don't think they're going to see an impact based on that. Now, moving forward with growth and things like that, that's our next biggest opportunity to really focus our energies on.
Is there a certain area where the growth would be seen, whether it be like architecturally wise or something along the lines of like food, even for lunches for students? How is that going to look?
Well, first and foremost, we have purchased the library. And because the library is building a new library, they've broken ground on that. And partnering with them, we bought the building. And working with the staff here at the high school, we haven't finalized the name, but it's going to be like the Shamrock Community and Events Center.
Yeah.
And our foodies program here is going to run it. We're going to put a kitchen in there, and they catered over 130 events last year. And even though our space here is brand new, it's not big enough.
Right.
And so it'll be available for community organizations to use, after-school activities, during the day activity. So that's one thing you'll see here. And once the library's done, which is 2-3 years out, based on construction times. And just overall changes. We're doing a feasibility study with the CSO Architects and Skillman Corporation, who've done a lot of our building, and just talking about, with all this growth, what do we do? Do we build an elementary school next? What's coming with that? And so we'll have those results back in January and have a better feel. But we've already outgrown this building, especially in the performing arts. The theater and the band area, what great dedication by our kiddos. What a great play this past fall. It was wonderful. But so we have to look at that. We've added an ag science program. So we're discussing an ag science wing with a greenhouse, and we're just growing, especially here at the high school. So really trying to specify the needs, but again, using our team, our architect, CSO and Skillman, they're giving a lot of options to look at. But we'll spend all spring delving and talking about that.
Absolutely. All right, so the next question I have for you is, how is the referendum going to impact our, community in the way, our teachers? Will you be able to hire more teachers? How will that look when you are looking for the demand of teachers?
I think, first of all, the referendum dollars go for the teacher benefits, insurance, and things like that. So if we lost those dollars, we couldn't add teachers.
Right.
And since we won, we can continue to funnel that money into the benefits, insurance, and things like that, retirement benefits, and then our what's called the education fund. We can hire new teachers. We can continue to give nice raises like we've done the last couple of years. So because we won this in the referendum fund, we're able not to have to divert money from the education fund from other areas to make up that difference. And so that allows us, again, as we get new money from the state, to really focus out on teacher salaries. We're continuing to grow, especially here at the high school.
Absolutely.
We've added a lot of teachers. We probably added 30 teachers last year. We don't know what we need next yet for next year, but we'll be meeting with principals and talking about that starting in January.
Absolutely.
So it's more what we're able to do with the money coming from the state of Indiana, because the referendum dollars can continue down the path on what they were doing. So it's kind of a double plus. We don't have to cut people. That money can focus on what it has always done. So kids won't see a difference But what you'll see is the ability for us to hire new teachers and start new programs. We want to put landscape management in. We want to start an ROTC program.
Yeah.
We want to expand our agri-science program. We want to teach welding. So if we would have lost the referendum, this money that we're going to be able to use here would have been diverted there.
Yeah.
So it's new academic programs. It won't come out of referendum dollars, but it'll come out of the education fund because both those will now be more stable for the next 8 years.
That's awesome. What would you say is the thing you're most excited for, or looking forward to see completed, or the idea that's come about?
Well, I think the thing that has just happened is the Early Childhood Center, the Early Learning Center, which is adjacent to my office,
Right.
next to Monon. I think that for me, it's designing programs that meet the needs of our students and our staff. For example, we added the agri-science program, animal science, plant science, enhancing food science. It's taking our foodies program, our culinary arts program to the next level.
Right.
So we have bigger space and things like that. It's looking at updating our athletic fields. I mean, we're really, we're updating the softball fields out at Monon and, the soccer / lacrosse fields and baseball fields. It's doing these things that really impact kids and makes it better for them. And just the future ideas, we'd like to look at a dual immersion language program for elementary schools.
Absolutely.
Well, we had to win the referendum, so now we can start looking at that long term. Those are some of the many things we're looking at. But again, those take time over the next 3 to 5 years.
Yeah.
But just trying to meet the needs of our students is our major focus.
Yeah. I know there's a lot of long-term process in the things with the referendum. What are kind of the short-term expectations that you have with this referendum passing?
Well, I think the next thing we're going to do is we're going to start strategic planning. And we won the referendum on Tuesday, and I made the statement the next referendum starts the next day.
Right.
Because over the next 8 years, we've got to be transparent, we've got to communicate, we've got to make sure that our community understands how much we appreciate their support. But then the strategic planning started the next day. We started talking about, how are we going to handle the growth?
Right.
Do we need a 7th elementary school? Are we going to need an additional middle school, additional intermediate school? All those topics, because of the growth, are coming in. What are we going to have to do with the high school? We are definitely adamant about keeping one high school and not going to 2.
Yeah.
So that being said, then how do we add classroom space to here? We've already outgrown the band room.
Yeah.
So do we expand the band room? Do we build another band room and use that for orchestra? We're starting an orchestra program. So all those things are really exciting to me because they impact kids. And those are things we've been kind of working on leading up to the referendum, but we really couldn't punch that ticket and say, okay, now it's time to go.
Yeah.
And that's all through our strategic planning process involving our teachers, our parents, and our students, which we'll kick that off in January.
Yeah, that's awesome. So another question I have for you is, how would this change affect our community and the people in Westfield? What would they see, or how would they be impacted by this change?
Well, I think, first of all, we're in one of the top 5 high schools in the state of Indiana, and that carries down through our 6 elementary schools and our intermediate and our middle school. So we already have a world-class education system. But it's really how can we enhance it? How can we tweak it? How can we make it better? If you're not going forward, you're going backwards. I've always felt that. Yeah. And we do what are called system-to-system meetings. I'll be meeting with the teachers actually at the intermediate middle school starting next week to hear what they have for their vision. Then in January we'll go to the other building. So it's kind of a listening tour that I'll do with my district team and listening to teachers, listening to kids and what they want. And then we'll also reach out to the community. We'll go to community centers. We'll go to different housing additions. We'll have some public meetings. We have to address some of our elementary schools, which are 25 and 30 years old.
Yeah.
So just a lot of meetings and discussing and getting impact from the community. We can't do this alone. It takes an entire village to build this wonderful education system that we have.
Absolutely. Kind of going along the lines of the format of how the academic calendar is put, has there been any thought about changing from trimesters in the high school to semesters or even quarters like the middle school has even had?
Well, first of all, that is a high school decision. That's not a superintendent's decision.
Okay.
I was on a Block 8 schedule for 13 years in my previous district. I was on what's called a Block 4 district back when I was high school principal at Decatur Central. I've always believed those are building-based decisions. I was around and helped Bob Brower many years ago when they put the trimester in. I was principal at Decatur Central and had some experience. So I don't think that's my decision. I think that has to be a grassroots decision coming from the high school leadership and the staff and the principals. And if they want to look at another schedule, we can do that. The middle school's looking at another schedule right now related to increase their time and help with electives. But those got to be building decisions. Those are not a superintendent decision.
Absolutely.
My job is to provide the resources if they want to make those changes. And depending on which department you're in and where you go, it might depend on what schedule you like. Absolutely. But strictly, that's a building-based decision. Awesome. I will not come back and dictate what schedule we're on, but I'll help facilitate whatever schedule our teachers and our administrators and what's best for our kids and our parents.
Perfect. Kind of an off-topic question of the referendum. With the holidays coming up, what are your plans for, I guess, personally and even throughout the district?
Well, my daughter lives in Oceanside, California, and her husband's a United States Marine, and he's getting ready to be gone for a little bit. And so last year I went out there. Growing up in Indianapolis and Central Indiana, I always loved college football. So last year I got to go to the Rose Bowl because my daughter lives an hour and 15 minutes away from Pasadena, and we watched Ohio State and Utah play. And one of my former students was on the Ohio State football team. He was injured, unfortunately. I didn't get to see him play. But and so this year, early on, I bought tickets to go back to the Rose Bowl, and I just found out Penn State and Utah will be there. But my son-in-law is a diehard Michigan fan. And since Michigan won Saturday night, they're going to the Fiesta Bowl. So on Saturday night, I bought 3 tickets to the Fiesta Bowl. Wow. So I'm leaving Indianapolis, going to Phoenix, meeting my daughter and her husband there. We're going to go to the Fiesta Bowl on the 31st, drive back to Oceanside, then we're going to the Rose Bowl. And so I'll be in college football utopia over Christmas. Plus, I love to do projects. I'm remodeling my kitchen. And plus, I've got a 15-month-old granddaughter that I expect to spoil over the Christmas break. I paid to have her bedroom redone in nice Disney characters and things like that. So spending time with my family. My daughter will be in from California. I'll see my other daughters, and so relaxing and doing some work.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's awesome to hear you got a busy couple weeks ahead.
I'm looking forward to
family. Yeah, that's awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining me today and talking about the referendum and even going into holiday themes around here. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.